Hey guys, and welcome back to another Gathering of Momentum, number 23. I'm Nate Max and I'll be your host as usual. And today we have a beautiful man on called Ian Davies. And this is going to be a Gathering of Momentum about health, but also about new technologies which are around to help the human family to grow and to flourish. We want to be thriving, and also not just thriving, we want to be taking health to the next level. And there's some really good products that have been coming out in the last couple of years that I've been noticing. And I've really been seeing and hearing a lot of people who have been using products and getting great results. So what I want to do now is really step into the health realm for the next few Gathering of Momentums, because we can't expect people to understand what's going on in the world. We can't expect people to go into esoteric realms and consciousness when their mind's a sea of toxic soup and their body is mineral deficient and they're struggling to do the basic things. And that's probably most of the human race these days. Even people who think they're healthy, generally they're quite mineral deficient and they have a lot of deficiencies going on, which can lead to deficiencies go into excess, and excess goes into degeneration of the body, acidification, inflammation, things like that. So most of you out there would realize that I've been doing stuff in health for quite a long time, over 10 years. I don't have any qualifications as such, but I've been researching and learning and have my own personal great testimonials of things that I've worked out in myself, but also family members and friends around the world. So I've got a guy on called Ian Davies, and he has been behind the scenes working with this new products, these new technologies, which have been around but have not been amplified like they have been now. Now we're really getting this new tech which is coming in, and it's creating products that are really helping and really benefiting people in a really beautiful way. So we're going to talk about 3 products today, but our main focus is going to be on stem cells. Now this is something you would have heard in the news, you would have heard in magazines and read about, but maybe not exactly sure what it is. And what my focus on is this foundational health. Now we need to go beyond putting a band-aid on a problem, and we need to get to the foundational building blocks of health and why the body grows, why the body degenerates, and what we can do to enhance and to lengthen and to sustain life so we can have long, healthy lives here and do good things in the world. And the reason why I am talking about this product today and we are having this beautiful interview is because I do use these products. I do not talk about anything that I don't use, or I don't know the people who own the company or people working in the company or the processes to create the product. So this is, I'm going to be learning today myself. And what I'd like to do is introduce Ian, and Ian can talk to us today about Stem Enhance and a few other technologies and what stem cells are, how they can benefit us, and what is this sea algae which is so powerful and profound and helping people around the world. So thank you very much for Ian for coming on, and welcome to a Gathering of Momentum. And tell us a little bit about you first, maybe.
Well, thank you, Nate. It really is an honor and a pleasure to be with you today to speak about something that I really love. I'm in love with what I have because I love to help humanity. And I've worked with this wild algae that grows wild in actually a volcanic freshwater lake in Oregon for now about 30 years. Wow. And then in more recent years, there's been a concentrated extract of the algae, which is known as Stem Enhance. And that is actually the world's first scientifically proven stem cell enhancer, which has published studies in a scientific journal. So it really is based on true airtight science. And Stem Enhance, it helps your body release many, many millions more of your own adult stem cells out of the bone marrow into the bloodstream. And when you know what stem cells do, to me, that is just totally, totally miraculous, because it just so happens that stem cells happen to be one of the greatest health discoveries of our lifetime. because your own adult stem cells within your bloodstream can help to renew, repair, restore, and regenerate every cell, every organ, and every function of the body. And that is quite a statement.
Wow.
And overall wellness is so related now to stem cells because your body's always breaking down, it's always renewing. And if we break down more than we renew, we can go out of balance, out of ease, disease. But if we can renew more than we break down, that's when we can restore wellness and restore function. Because when we're young, very naturally, we have a very high number of stem cells releasing out of our bone marrow into the bloodstream. So an example of that, when you're young, say you break a bone, that bone can regenerate and repair very quickly at a very high level. But not just your bones, every cell, every tissue, and every organ does.
Right.
But after the age of 25, your own stem cells start to get more adhered or stuck or glued to the bone marrow by about, I'm told, about 5% a year. So by the time we're 50 years old, we've got 50% less stem cells circulating. So later in life, another example, you break a bone, it doesn't renew so quickly, but not just your bone. All your organs and tissues and function doesn't renew at such a high level. And every 5 years, you have most of your organs and new organs. You have a new liver, you have a new kidney every 5 years. What makes your new organs anyway are your own circulating stem cells in the bloodstream. But as the numbers decline, the renewal and regeneration declines along with that. So by restoring and establishing a high number of stem cells in the bloodstream, you're then giving your body the potential to help renew those organs and help function at a high level. And just another side note, you know that there's a lot of science now relating renewal and degeneration to stem cells. And apparently, most people in disease states usually have less than half the numbers of stem cells in the bloodstream compared to healthy people. So it totally relates.
Right, okay.
Even the New England Journal of Sciences published an article that states probably the best indicator of cardiovascular health more than anything else is dependent on the numbers of stem cells in the bloodstream. But stem cells not just renew heart, they renew everything. So it really is quite profound.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, like, thank you for that intro. And the stem cell phenomenon which is going on, it's like it seems to be, it was always just with like really expensive treatments overseas somewhere, or you'd have to go to a hospital and they'll pull your stem cells out and do all this, $250,000 treatment. To have actual access to a stem cell enhancer now that we can access, which is available to, most people, it's not expensive. That to me is really exciting that now the public, the general public, has basically the ability to get to this stuff. It used to be like, oh, maybe the elite and the movie stars can get some stem cells and things like that. So that's really cool that it's accessible to us too.
Well, let me elaborate a little more on that, because that is just so interesting. I believe it does cost a lot of money for a stem cell injection.
Right.
And I think it may cost around $10,000 to get an injection of 25 million stem cells. Well, every time we take 2 capsules of our products, I believe it releases about 4 to 9 million more stem cells, and it only costs a couple of dollars a day for each 2 capsules. And so once you take 2 capsules, maybe 3, 4, or 5 times, you've already ended up releasing over 25 million stem cells. You didn't have to spend $10,000.
Totally, wow.
And they can now make windpipes and different organs outside of the body on scaffolds, and then they transplant them into the body. But the way I look at it, if you can just release the high numbers of stem cells into your bloodstream and give your body the potential to do this from within inside, use your own body as a scaffold, I think that's a lot better. And then we're keeping the baseline of stem cells in the bloodstream high every day. So you're not just getting an injection or a procedure to get stem cells, and then your body eventually will go back to its baseline of low stem cells, which may end up making the body break down again. So by establishing a high level, your body does release compounds, I think they're called cytokines, from any damaged tissue that attract stem cells to where they need to go. So I'd like to think they know where to go, they know what to do. You just need to have enough of an army of repairmen or stem cells in your bloodstream to do the repair.
Right. So, and where are the stem cells coming from? Is this coming from like bone marrow? Like for people out there who don't know what the process is, like where do stem cells come from and what are they type of thing, and also what the difference between, say, putting stem cells in and creating your own, that's obviously like is that a more natural process as well, as opposed, is it artificial what they're doing, or it's just replicating what you've got and then putting it back in? That's really interesting too. There's two different types of the way it works.
Well, first of all, we're not talking about embryonic stem cells here.
Right.
These are stem cells existing in your own body after birth, and they're called adult stem cells.
Right.
Now, adult stem cells, they reside in many tissues, in gum tissue, fat tissue, but I believe the main population resides within the bone marrow. That's one reason I believe people get a bone marrow transplant. It's a bit like a stem cell transplant. Yes. Now, I believe you have about 150 million stem cells within the bone marrow. And here, again, every time we take 2 capsules, I believe we're releasing about 4 to 9 million at a time. And some people ask me, well, you're going to deplete your bone marrow stem cells. Well, apparently every time a stem cell is called out, say you cut yourself and the body says, hey, I'm going to send messengers to call for stem cells, or say you have a heart attack, says, hey, I need more stem cells over here to help my heart to regenerate. Messengers go to the bone marrow to release more stem cells. They go into the bloodstream. Then different chemicals or messengers say, hey, over here, this is where I need help. So that's the kind of mechanism behind it. But every time a stem cell is released from the bone marrow, it makes a sister cell. I believe the original stays in the bone marrow. The sister cell releases into the bloodstream. So it's a self-protective mechanism. So the release of the stem cell is very natural. We use a total natural product about the algae I'd like to get into soon, because energetically, this is just off the chart what we have here, as well as what it does with stem cells and nutritionally. And so 4 to 9 million is well within the natural balance of the body, and we're using a natural superfood to do it. And you can't deplete your bone marrow like this. And so it's well within nature, and that's what I'm all about, to do what's good for you, natural for you. And to me, this couldn't be more natural, or couldn't be, the results I see. I personally believe it's one of the greatest things I've ever discovered in my lifetime. That's why I can't help but share it and be a part of this.
Excellent. Wow. Yeah, it's really exciting. I feel like finally now I've had a whole bunch of nice health products come into my life, but I like to call them technologies. I feel like this is really like a technology, it's not just a supplement. This is something that's like going to go down there into that cellular level and help. And I've been noticing my health just gradually getting better and better and stronger, my dreams getting stronger, my physicality, like sorenesses and things, and mental clarity. What kind of effects could people be expecting, like from, if they've got a lot of stem cells being released into the body, what type of things would we be expecting? Is this across the board kind of upgrading and a sense of well-being? Is that probably what it's going to be creating?
Well, again, if you look at most disease, and I'm not here to make any claims for disease with our product, we just don't do that.
Yes.
But most disease is, say, cellular or tissue or function loss. So an example, if you've lost cells, tissue or function of your pancreas, your body then may not have the function to make enough insulin. If you lost cells, tissue or function of the eye, of the retina, then people end up getting macular degeneration. So what renews those cells, tissues and function? It's very much related to stem cells, just like the New England Journal of Science stated. One of the best indicators of cardiovascular health is dependent on the numbers of stem cells. And so if we can renew those cells, tissues and function, we put our body back in a much better state. Even some of the top world anti-aging experts, they even talk about aging is a shift in your metabolism. They talk about, it's called the metabolic model of aging. They say when you're young, you're very much in an anabolic state. Yeah. Anabolic, like anabolic steroids, means renew, repair, restore, regenerate. And as we age, we lose the anabolic, goes down, we become more catabolic, which is break down, wear down, die. Well, they say the key to stay younger longer is to stay in an anabolic state. Well, I think the most anabolic cell in the body is a stem cell.
Right.
Another way of looking at it is half the people in the United States who go bankrupt, if they only had an extra $300 a month, they would not need to go bankrupt. So if you can put an extra 30% more stem cells into your health bank account, well, can that make a difference? Well, I believe that. even in Chinese medicine, you never run after symptoms. In Chinese medicine, what you do, you help to balance your organ systems and your energy pathways of the body. Well, what renews all your organ systems? It's your own stem cells circulating in the bloodstream. And so no matter which way you look at it, this is about creating balance and harmony. And if you want, I can elaborate more on the algae. Then you're talking about new technology. Well, this isn't new technology. This is the oldest technology that existed on the face of this earth. And so if you want me to talk about that, I'd be delighted.
Yeah, I really like to know like what is in Stem Enhance, this algae, and like I've like heard that algae is almost like a whole food where it's like complete in its entirety. It has everything that's kind of necessary for life, regardless of the amount it's in there, which is really exciting to me too, because I've also been researching a lot that the further you go down the food chain, the less toxins and more purity you get, and the better it is for humans. So I'd definitely like to learn more about like what is in the algae, like where the algae comes from, and like why it's so beneficial, and like the history behind it. Where you said just then that sounds really interesting. So let's definitely go there on that one, because I'm not very researched on the algae, so I'm really interested to find out more.
Okay, let me go back in time, start at the beginning, because algae really is the foundation of life, and it's full of life force. Now, this algae grows wild in a volcanic lake in Oregon, and it is so unique. It really is the Rolls Royce, of, I believe, of all algae in the world. And there's a lady in Boston called Cindy Banker, and she translates ancient Chinese texts to English. And she talks about even in Chinese medicine, we're born with so much jing or life force or qi or prana to last us a lifetime. And she says this particular algae, in the Stem Enhanced algae, it really is one of the few things on this whole planet that can increase the jing or life force in us. So let me elaborate more on that. I'll go back. When life began on this earth, the first life forms were bacteria, and then algae, which is cyanobacteria. And you've probably heard of Hippocrates, the father of medicine. And this algae is food. It's the base of the food chain. It's Earth's first food. And what Hippocrates said, he said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. And plants entrain their qualities in you. So this algae is so full of this life force and this energy. And so when life began and bacteria and algae evolved, there was no ozone layer. And all the radiation came flying in. And the algae made properties to protect itself against radiation. Remember, plants entrain their qualities in you. And then the algae evolved into the grasses and the trees and everything higher up in our food chain. Every step you go up in the food chain, you lose a part of the power. So when you go to the base of the food chain, you go to the pure power. You cannot get any closer to the base in algae. Algae has properties of an animal, of a plant, and a bacteria. It's got a proteinaceous cell wall like an animal. It's got chlorophyll like a plant, and it shares information like bacteria. So it's very independent. It's very complete. It's very unique. And because it's part bacteria, bacteria share information. So over the millennium, since life began in this world, and all the earth changes and ice ages, and whenever algae's been in trouble, it actually can send information because it communicates. It goes all around the world. Hey, I'm in trouble. What do I need to survive? And it gets back what it needs to survive in the same way that antibiotic-resistant bacteria has learned to resist antibiotics. And so in its DNA, it is full of all this innate intelligence since life began on Earth. And algae really is like the immune system of our planet. It produces between 80 to 90% of the oxygen we breathe. If there was no algae, there'd be no life. The whole essence of algae in life is balance and harmony. And I feel the whole essence of our product here, Stem Enhance, is balance and harmony. And it is so unique, and it is so unlike any other algae. And so let me elaborate more on that.
Yes.
The AFA algae means a Phamaenonus omphalos aqua, so that's why we call it AFA. It grows wild in this incredible pristine lake called Klamath Lake in southern Oregon, in the Cascade Mountain Range. Now, Klamath Lake is about 28 miles long, 2 to 4 miles wide. It's at least 140 square miles big. It is huge, and it is really pure and pristine. It's very high altitude. Mount McLaughlin towers over the lake. All year round it's snow-capped. So every winter the algae dies and becomes part of the sediment on the bottom of the lake. And most years the lake freezes. And so when the ice melts and the algae starts to grow, it really is survival of the fittest and the strongest. So it's a true wild foods. And bugs and insects do not attack wild foods the way they do cultivated foods. So when we eat wild foods, they're so strengthening. Right. And I think this algae is the only wild food I eat usually. Anyway, about 20 miles north of Klamath Lake is the world-famous Crater Lake. Crater Lake is an old volcano that filled up with water from underground springs. And this is meant to be some of the most pure, pristine water in the whole world. Well, 90% of the water source of Klamath Lake is the same water source as Crater Lake. There's about 17 rivers and streams that feed Klamath Lake. And if you go to the heads and the sources of all these rivers and streams, they all come out of the ground through these same underground springs.
Wow. And
they are so pure and pristine. They're known as the rivers of light. I've been there many times. And when you look through the water, it's like looking through glass. It's just so crystal clear. It's unbelievable. Now, a lot of the lake is a wildlife reserve. It's got the highest population of American bald eagles outside of Alaska. And American bald eagles are very, very sensitive to pollution. So it's another indicator how pure and pristine this environment is. Now, Crater Lake 7,000 years ago was known as Mount Mazama. Now, Mount Mazama was one of the largest volcanic eruptions in history in North America. And billions of tons of vaporized ash went all into the Klamath Lake Basin and all the surrounding volcanic mountains. Now, we are from the earth, and we need all the trace elements and nutrients from the earth to be healthy. Yes. The highest source of those nutrients in the whole world is volcanic rock and volcanic ash, and that's what feeds the algae. So whenever the snow melts or it rains, it's like a mineral funnel, all these thousands of miles of volcanic sediment all funneling into the lake. So there's 60 times more of every nutrient and trace element in the lake water than the algae could possibly ever use.
Wow.
And again, every winter the lake freezes and the algae dies, becomes part of the sediment. And even if no new nutrients went into the lake water, 1 inch of the sediment is so nutrient rich it could feed the algae for the next 60 years. And there's up to 35 feet of this sediment. It's a nutrient trap. Now, the average depth of the lake is about 8 feet deep, and the algae's got like a little gas vacuole in it. When it wants some more nutrients, it lets out a bit of gas. It dives down to the bottom like a submarine, hangs out in all this sediment. When it wants some more sunlight, it aerates itself, comes up just underneath the surface and basks in the sunshine and traps sunlight. And when you look at it through a microscope, you see it's full of sunlight. When you're eating it, you're eating light. And when it grows in the summer, I'm told it doubles. By some people, I've heard every 4 hours. Some people say every day. But that shows regeneration, rejuvenation. And isn't it ironic? It releases your own stem cells to help you regenerate. And for many years, I worked as a carpenter, and what I did, I used to renew old houses. And so let me give you my repairman carpenter's analogy of a stem cell even. If the house, say, had an old bathroom, an old kitchen, or a hole in the roof, I could go in, put a brand new bathroom, brand new kitchen, or a brand new roof on the house. Well, that's how your own stem cells work in the body. When you put it in, your brain becomes a new brain. When you put it in your new heart, liver, kidney, your knees, your bones, you name it, your eyes. Your own stem cells can renew every cell, every tissue, every organ. So what else is there? Even an embryo is a bit like a massive stem cells that built you. Right. Well, I like to think if you put more stem cells back in the bloodstream, they help to rebuild you. And if you can rebuild everything, to me, potentially everything is possible. That's why what we have here is one of the greatest health discoveries of our lifetime. And it just warms my heart to be a part of this.
Wow, that there's so many crucial points that you said then that really rang true to me, because I actually do sell a product also called Oro Minerals, and that comes from the volcanic minerals. And it's like a water purification device, the only one in the world. And it comes from volcanic ash and volcanic soil, really rich, dense nutrient matter. And it basically purifies the water, structures the water, pulls the contaminants out, creates an EZ zone. Like nothing on earth does this. And that's the same stuff which is creating this beautiful algae, or what it's feeding off and what it's eating. So imagine how when you said that, like, it goes down to the bottom and it comes up, if you look at it under a microscope, to be having this beautiful life of absolute flourishment and nourishment. So that's really cool hearing, like, not only the water, the pristine water, the mountain range where it comes from, and then this volcanic ash and this mineral rich, like, that's what we need to be all over the earth, you know, and that's what we need everywhere with those type of conditions to create the most abundant life ever. So yeah, putting those three things together, no wonder it works so well. No wonder people are having such good results on that one. So yeah, well, that's incredible.
Well, it's full of this life force. I think there's something called optocrystallization technique. Many, many years ago, I saw the AFA algae under this, and a bit like Emoto's work, the energy and the pattern of it was the most gorgeous, because it's full of life force. You've heard of grounding is good for you. Well, this is full of energy from the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars. It's full of this life force, and it connects you to your innate intelligence and your life force, and gives your biochemistry a picture of everything, and it just connects people. I see people just feeling grounded. For me, it's made me more conscious.
Right.
As well as the stem cells. I mean, to me, it's made me evolve in ways I never would have imagined. And just to reiterate on the mechanism of action, what it is, your stem cells in your bone marrow is called an L-selectin. In our algae is an L-selectin blocker. We also use an ocean algae sourced by Marinova in Tasmania, which is another scientifically based company. Marinova on the news here in Australia several months ago, using this fucoidin algae for traumatic brain injury. Now they're doing the clinical trials and reuse their fucoidin. And also we have an extract of spirulina, a synthesized extract. So it's not spirulina, it's yellow. It's called mesenchyme, and it works as GCSF, which is also a signaling factor that calls for stem cells to come out of the bone marrow. So it's like a vortex calling for stem cells to come out of the bone marrow. And you've got the stem enhance and the fucoidin kind of releasing or pushing stem cells out of the bone marrow. And this product's called Stem Enhance Ultra. Again, Stem Enhance is the world's first scientifically proven stem cell enhancer. And Stem Enhance Ultra is now our most advanced product. Exactly, most advanced version of our Stem Enhance yet. And the results I see are just sometimes just off the chart. And it works for animals the same as humans. And if anything, I love it when people make it their dogs their guinea pig, because animals, because they're so connected, they usually respond even faster than humans. And I don't make any health claims, but if people want to know what stem cells do and whatever's going on, I tell them do a Google search, stem cells with this, stem cells with that. You get your own answer, and they say, what will it do for me? Well, I say, I don't know, just try it. And you tell me what it does for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. My dog, he as soon as we started the interview, he had to come in the house, and he's sitting right next to me, laying next to me now, just looking at me. And he's always like giving me signs and like, you know, maybe you need to take that more. Maybe I need to have some of that. He's right next to me, squashed up next to me, kind of, wants to be part of it. Now, it's interesting. I also watched a video of some of the guys who created this company and this product, and they're like, we're basically not even into talking about health benefits because it's such a profound product that we don't need to. People just, by word of mouth, it just sells and people just buy it because it works so well. And that's a really good thing for me, because there's so many products out there and people pushing things that I'm kind of sick of it. I'm fed up with hearing people like talking about their testimonials when they've only been using something for a week, and really they're just trying to flog it because people are trying to make money and things like that. So when I heard the way they were talking about this, I was like, it really rang true to me, and it showed a bit of integrity, which is like why I wanted to be on board with this and get this out to my friends and family, because I do have quite a big network of people who are out there, and we work together and try and find new ways to help with sicknesses and just to getting optimum health too. I have a lot of friends who are ultra athletes and professional athletes, and to get something like this is can be really beneficial for these guys who are out there pushing their bodies to the limit, but also people who are struggling to keep their head above water. And I'm finding the more and more I'm connecting with people, because I do seminars and talks, and I travel a lot. I'm constantly on the streets talking to people, and the common theme amongst all humans is they're a bit tired, they're a little bit run down, they're feeling a bit kind of brain fog and a bit cloudy and not really motivated. And that's what I'm seeing everywhere. But the people who are getting onto these really good products, they're like, I'm feeling amazing, I'm feeling crazy, my hormone balance, my sex drive, my clarity, I'm getting so much done. So there's a really big gap now happening in the world, and especially in the Western world, because people are really aware of what we're drinking, the water we're drinking out of the tap. It's terrible. You know, the vegetables and the fruits and things, we're being sprayed. We're kind of getting taken out and poisoned from all angles, and it's by our unawareness of what's going on is one, but also the lack of access to products, but also not having the knowledge of what we actually need. The hardest thing in health now is like reading millions of labels, all this content coming in everywhere. Everyone's got their own angle and their own view on something. It's like, man, where do I even start? Like, what do I do here? And that's why this foundational stuff, the foundation of the building blocks of life, to me is like, that's where we start. The water, the foundational food, obviously the happiness and the mindfulness, and using products which have been sourced in a good way, working with good people. Because everything that we take, everything we use has an energetic signature. And if we're working for a company which is like, let's just make money, 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 and that energetic signature is in the food, it's in the product, then it's transported, then it's someone else. And by the time you get it, you've got this half-assed product which is connected to a money mind virus. And we're seeing that a lot, you know, a lot of these products, a lot of things that are out there, it's really connected to like making money. And people are like, oh, yeah, it's about healing people. It's like, no, no, no. Your first thing is about making money. And then you use that as a ploy to say, we're going to heal people later. And I'm becoming really allergic to these type of talks. And there's a lot of like water machines out there now that are worth like $5,000. And I just hear the spiel, the people talking, and I'm like, this person just wants money, you know. This is about money. This is not about actually healing the human race and upgrading us humans. This is about something else. So this has been really refreshing, and the information you've given me so far, I haven't known much of this. So is there anything else that you feel is necessary to talk about on the STEM Enhance, or do you want to talk about also, say, inflammation, and we can go into Cyactive and what's happening with Cyactive and why these three products work in symbiosis with each other?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, there's a saying I have: the greatest of all human needs to need to feel connected. And the STEM Enhance, it connects people to who they really are. This is beautiful to see. And people emotionally and mentally, they just say, Ian, I don't want to make any claims, but for the first time I feel like the fog is cleared off my brain, and I feel so joyful, and I feel so connected. And I really believe what we do to each other, we do to ourselves, because we all are one. So, you know, and people come first to me, not money. And talking about the product, there's no need to talk about money. I got involved with the product, and it turned into over 100,000 people from all over the world because of the product.
Yeah.
Not because of me. It's because of what the product has done for people. And we do have a couple of other products, and you mentioned inflammation. You know, I hear here and there that inflammation is behind all disease, which is charming. Inflammation also makes pain. We have an incredible anti-inflammatory with a lot of research. It's another extract from spirulina of phycoinin, which is a blue pigment. It's a COX-2 inhibitor, and so for many people it really helps with inflammation. And so inflammation, because it's a start of disease, it's like putting the fire out of that and the drivers behind discomfort in the body. But inflammation to a stem cell is very much like background noise, you know, a bit like if you're in the country and you're tuning a radio, you've got all this background noise, you can't hear the station. So by calming down this background noise, you then can allow the stem cell to tune into the station of where it needs to go. Another analogy I've heard of this is, inflammation is a bit like if you have rocks and boulders in your bloodstream, and your stem cell is released into the bloodstream, is floating around, and say you've got a couple of hands like you, or adhesion molecules. Well, it bumps up against one of these boulders. You think it's the tissue where it needs to differentiate or turn into to renew, but it's a boulder, and it keeps going. It rips the arm off. You've got one more adhesion molecule. It bumps up against the log, and you're like, my goodness, is this the area of need I need to be to turn into? Right. And it's the log. It rips your other arm off, and then you're bouncing along and then you can't adhere to where you need to go. I've heard that analogy as well. So by calming down the information with this incredible product called Cyactive, not only you're calming down systemic inflammation, you're then also allowing the stem cells to tune into where they need to go. And then another product we have is called Plasma Flow, because most of us have an excess of what's called fibrin mesh in our bloodstream. It's a bit like cobwebbing that inhibits our blood flow to the microcirculation and capillaries. And if your blood doesn't get to all the microcirculation and capillaries, your blood is your delivery system, then oxygen, nutrients, and stem cells can't get delivered there. It's a bit like the train pulls into the station, but if the doors don't open, you can't get out. And so by digesting the excess fibrin mesh, not only are you going to help the delivery of oxygen, nutrients, and stem cells, you're really helping overall delivery of the whole body. I think I've even heard that one of the main reasons that people's organs shut down even is due to lack of circulation. So these are all standalone products, but if you work them all together, it helps the Stem Enhance work even better. But the main products are Stem Enhance if someone's on a budget, but if you can afford all three, they're all going to help each other work even better in the most magical way. And then we've just released another product called Cyactive Joint, and we were given some samples a few months ago of Cyactive Joint, and this has just got released. I could not be more excited about this. It's got the Cyactive in it, but it's got ingredients to help protection and regeneration of joints. And it's got one part of the ingredients is eggshell membrane. Now, an eggshell membrane, not only is it very protective to a chicken, it's extremely protective to joints. And the samples we were given, I had people around me that had issues. Within days of taking it, they said, oh my goodness,
amazing,
what has happened? And I think that's going to be a very, very quick acting product with the results I've seen. Now the real field test starts, but oh my goodness, I think if people with joint issues, it comes in 120 capsules, you take 2 twice a day, and if they take 2 Stem Enhance twice a day, I think with regeneration, with stem cells, and helping their joints renew, oh my goodness, it's going to be a match made in heaven. And so, I'm just so honored to be with something here that can really serve and help people in the most powerful way I've ever seen. And look, we need nutrition, we need vitamins, we need all that stuff, it's the foundation. But stem cells are a little bit different because vitamins nourish cells, a bit like when I was a carpenter, I could put a lick of paint on something, kind of help that go longer, a bit like, your cells are always dividing, you've got to nourish those cells. But stem cells are a different category. Only stem cells can make new, fresh, healthy cells, new, fresh, healthy tissues, new, fresh, healthy organs. And your vitamins and nutrients nourish those cells and tissues. So it's different. And it's just so wonderful that I can help people with their stem cells as well. And we need everything. It doesn't negate anything. Yes. But it really is a different category of product. And to me, it's just totally off the chart and beautiful.
Amazing. Thanks, Ian. The joint repair sounds really profound because we're seeing an epidemic of people with osteoporosis and joint problems in Australia, especially in the Western world, because we've been on such terrible food for so long. We've kind of been implementing the SAD diet, which is a standard Australian diet, or the standard American diet. And it is very sad, it's like maybe a little bit of greens on a plate with a big slab of meat and dairy, and our breakfast is, we really have been told the wrong information about food. And my generation, especially, I was born in 1985, we all grew up with the fast food, the packaged food, the McDonald's, the chips. This all came out in our generation. So my parents' generation, a lot of them are really doing it tough. I'm going to imagine that if people don't jump onto their health now and mine, we're going to see some really, really unhealthy people. And I've been helping people for quite a long time with certain different things. I help people acquire some CBD oil. I don't sell it, but I know people that do. And that's been kind of pretty good for joints and things like that. But this Cyactive, which is specifically for joints, the Cyactive, the new one, joint, that sounds really good because people are kind of, if you go to the pharmaceutical industry, there's nothing they're going to give you that's going to be beneficial for you with joints, with inflammation, with pain. They're going to give you a Band-Aid, which is going to be put on, which is going to create a side effect or an effect, which is going to lead to more disharmony in the body. And you can end up with liver problems, with this problem, hormone problems. So that's why I like these products. They're all from whole foods, from plants, and they're natural. That's the good thing, natural products that work in symbiosis with the human body. Now, I've had a few people who did speak to me a while ago, and they told me about Stem Enhance. And she's been using a lot of stuff that I use. We network together. We use the redox signaling molecules, which is basically turning on the signals in the brain. Then you have Stem Enhance, which is actually creating more stem cells. So we've got two different healing modalities happening there all together. And then you have Cyactive, which is dropping the pain and lowering the pain and the inflammation so the body can regenerate and heal itself. And the plasma flow, to let the blood go through the body properly, like there's 5 different modalities we're hitting there. And then you've got the CBD oil, which is opening a whole new healing modality, which is the endocannabinoid system, which has been off for generally 2 generations. And they knew this. The people who are running the show, they know that the cannabinoids are so beneficial for us, and it creates another healing modality. If we're tapping on 5 different new healing modalities that the human body has never had before, I mean, there's really not much chance for a person to be unwell and to be sick. And that, to me, is really exciting, that even like an old grandma, and they're scared of anything that's out of the norm, because most Western people, if it's not from the chemist, they're like, oh, I'm not sure about that, or they get a bit weird. So if you have a nice, beautiful product in a bottle, and within a week or 2, or however many days, they can get a reduction in inflammation, that straight away is going to create a healing process in their mind because they're feeling something. Now, the one issue I have with a lot of people who I work with is that if they're using like a basic CBD, whole plant extract, if they don't feel something straight away, they might ring me and they go, it's not working. It's not working. And I'm like, guys, you need to have faith in what's going on. This healing process, the process of getting sick generally takes 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You know, we've been doing the wrong thing for so long. We haven't been doing our house cleaning. We have a lymphatic system which is not working properly. Detoxification processes. There's not much house cleaning going on. People like to service their cars. They change the oil. We change the oil filters. But how many times do people service their bodies? You know, I speak to a lot of my old mates who used to party and drink a lot. I'm like, oh, have you done any detoxing? And they're like, oh, I stopped drinking for like 2 months. I'm like, well, that's good. You stopped poisoning yourself. But now we need to start removing these toxins. We need to get the body flowing. We need to get the body stretching, alkaline body, alkaline mind. So the processes of house cleaning hasn't been happening. And not only that, the generations before us didn't really know about detoxing. Unless you're a hippie back in the 60s and you would have been onto this health technology, most people really don't understand that every quarter, like 4 times a year, we should be detoxing and doing toxin elimination from livers, from kidneys, lymphatic system, you know, colon cleansers, bowel restores, things like that. Because what we've been eating, the processed refined sugars, the starches, the glutens, the wheats, all these artificial colors and flavors, they kind of go into the body and they get stuck in the colon. They get stuck because they're not natural. And our body hasn't really got the defense mechanism to remove them 100%. It gets some out, but then we have a buildup. We have a buildup inside the large intestines, inside the colon, and that eventually leads to what the body does. It creates mucus. So we have the cell wall. We have heavy metals and toxins. And to prevent this from going into the cell wall, for people out there who don't know, your body creates mucus and it blocks the stuff from hitting the cell wall. And then if you can't excrete that stuff, that ends up being more and more mucus with more and more contaminants. And you end up having a mucoid plaque inside the body, which is basically stopping and preventing all these beautiful minerals and nutrients from entering our physical vessel, and we're just washing them out. Now I've got a thing called a cedar stick at home, and it's basically a pen, and I put it on different points of the people's fingers, and what it does, it gives me a readout of how mineral deficient people are. Now, the most healthy people that I come across who think they're really healthy are generally still on the lower scale for mineral and nutrient deficiency. So this is with healthy people. Imagine people who have been drinking tap water their whole lives. They've been just smashing meat, you know, since they're born. People like to say that there's like a genetic thing that's been passed on by the parents. Like, oh, my parents had bowel cancer, so I've got bowel cancer. And I say to them, I go, no, it's a genetic eating disorder. You've been eating the same food your parents have been eating. your grandparents were eating the same food they were eating. So you're getting these traits being passed on because you haven't snapped out of the sad diet. So yeah, I am kind of excited to get a lot of people who I know who are unwell, especially on this joint one. That joint one to me seems like that's going to be a game changer because they're going to feel the results so quickly. They're going to be like, okay, wow, the inflammation's gone down. This is happening. I can do this. I can move here. I couldn't used to walk up steps. And that doesn't take much for the human body to start regenerating, especially when the mind realizes that, hey, I'm getting better. That little spark, that little ignition of hope, that creates this healing process when everything starts moving forward. And then the main thing for me, and the reason why I do this health, Ian, is because if I can get people healthy mentally, I'm going to have an army of awake people who are going to be out there making informed decisions. They're going to be conscious of what products they're buying in the world. They're going to understand the global agenda which is going on. There's a lot of things that I talk about that are so fringe that the mainstream aren't even close to getting it. They're like, Nate, that Nate guy is crazy. But that's because the conscious awareness is not there. And if products can upgrade our spiritual awareness, our consciousness, our health, our physical health, our vitality, so we're jumping out of bed, that's going to mean we have an army of amazing people, and we're going to see this world shifting and changing into a more harmonious state. And for me, that's the end goal. Healthy people who have got time to do things, who are not doing jobs they don't like, who are out there being creative, creating love, and focusing on solutions. So, yeah, thank you very much for the information, Ian. Is there anything else you'd like to throw in? Because I've been pretty impressed with what you've told me so far. I've got a lot to learn.
well, you know, you're talking about how people are in dire health, and it would appear that people have all different autoimmune problems. It's like an epidemic. And that's very much triggered with inflammation in the gut. I believe every 5 days we have a new intestinal lining, and again, what makes that stem cells contribute. So I've seen people calm that down. But another part of that is for people to take away the drivers. So many people are gluten intolerant and they don't realize it's really driving their inflammation and autoimmune. And then sugar's another cause of inflammation and a driver. And also dairy for many people. And if people can help with good products, but then take away the drivers of whatever's going on in them. So it's a bit like, if you keep hitting your head against the wall, you can take our products, it's going to help that head get better. But if you're going to keep hitting your head against the wall, it's going to keep having those drivers of making that problem.
Right.
So if you can stop hitting the head against the wall, take away the drivers and our wonderful products, oh my goodness, that's a recipe for massive success.
Amazing. All right. So what I might say to people, this is the Ultra. That's the Stem Enhance Ultra. That's what it looks like. I haven't got the plasma flow on me. That's in the car, and that's the Sciactive. But what these products are going to be, guys, they're going to be on the website, innate-awareness.com. You can either sign up and you become an affiliate member, which means if you are running a clinic or you've got friends and family or people around you, and this is a product that you use and you start to like, you can then have your own affiliate link and people can order from you. So you have a little bit of a residual income, but it also gives them discounts because they can order through you in a preferred customer type of manner. So that's pretty cool, and it's a good way of setting it up because then that benefits everyone. And then when you start seeing people around you having the health effects in a positive way, that's going to be, for me, it's credibility. I mean, the more people I can help in a physical way, it becomes more credible, and then I can push them from health onto the next phase. Then we can get onto the next phase because we're going to get to a point eventually when we're not going to need any products. We're going to get to a point where we're so clean and clear, we're operating at such a high frequency that we're not going to be eating food. We're going to be getting energy straight from the sun, directly from prana and chi and things like that. And that's when we're going to really see the torch of light being shined into all the dark areas, and the stuff that's happening on the news now, that's going to be a thing of the past. The divide and conquer, that's not going to be around anymore. And I remember actually you were speaking a little bit before about that chi energy to do with this chi energy which comes in. And it's interesting because this has really created like waves of euphoria in my body because I feel like I've been a little bit low on chi energy because I push really hard and I do things and I don't nurture myself enough sometimes. And I notice that when I have things like reishi, chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps, and different medicinal mushrooms, they give me a little bit of a feeling of that chi energy. there's something in mushrooms. They're connected to the mycelium network, which you said, like the way the algae basically communicates around the planet. That's kind of what the mushrooms do through an earthly way. It's communicating through the earth. But I also have tea, which I get from a friend of mine who's also on my website, and guys can connect with him in Sydney. He's got actually a Tesla coil resonance light machine and some really cool products in his shop. But he gets this tea from China, which is up to 300 years old. So some of the trees they're getting it from is 300 years old. And when I have that tea, within 5 minutes, I feel this grounding, calming energy coming through me. And it feels like my feet are like planted in the ground. You know, it feels like I'm back to balance and I'm thinking consciously, and I'm not rushing. Now, this is the same kind of feeling I'm getting from the Stem Enhance, but the Stem Enhance is obviously much more profound. So for me, calming, nurturing, and grounding is like one of the most important things I need in my life, just to slow me down, to get me back into that heart and operate from a heart space, which is meaning I'm going to make good decisions for the people around me and also myself. So this is really good for me to be able to compare it to the 3 other things that I use, which really work for me. And in the early phases, I'm like, wow, okay, this is what's happening now, and I've only been using the product for X amount of time. Imagine what's going to happen when all my levels start coming up and everything starts functioning and firing how it's supposed to be.
Beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ian. And what I'll do for people out there, I'll chuck the links at the bottom of this webinar, and I'll put some photos in as well. I'll go through and edit this, and you guys can order these products from that link. It's a very simple link. You just go in, click on what country you're from and what products you want, and you order it and it turns up. So it's a very, very easy process. Comes in lovely packaging, and it rocked up to my house the first time I ordered it, I think in under 5 days. Might have even been 3 or 4 days, which is really good. So just have a think about the people around you and the friends and family who are struggling with inflammation and degenerative health and things like that. Like I said, we can't talk about testimonials and things like that. There's no need. And all it does is gets the company into trouble, because people start promoting things, and then we want this company to be around for a long time. We want this product to be available. We don't want people to trash it. What we want is to sell word of mouth through the actual the facts. Like, people will sell it and go, well, this works so well for me, so I'm going to tell my friends. That's the best way to get a product going, and we can sustain it and maintain it and have it for the future as long as possible. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and I will speak to you all later. Thanks, Ian.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into that podcast on that YouTube. Now, there's quite a lot of things we couldn't say on there because of the TGA and all these different organisations which prevent you from doing health claims. But let's just say, read between the lines, it's a very, very good product and works on almost everything. But anyhow, for people listening on podcast, if you want to jump onto the affiliate links, now this is a global organisation, so no matter what country you're in, I'm pretty sure it sends it to all of them. But all you do is click on, in your browser, type in natemax.cerule.com. So it's natemax.cerule, cerule.com. That's it. So if you want to order, jump on there. If you want to be an affiliate or you want to become a distributor, you can do that also. It's a very good little product. You get a little bit of a residual income, and yes, it does support me. So thank you guys out there who buy these products. A lot of people say to me, how can we support you? And they say you should do a donation thing. And I'm like, nah, look, I'll start bringing in a couple of good products that will help you guys. And then if you buy them, that will help me. So that's what I've done. I've brought out some really lovely products, and I've been researching for like 10 years in natural health. I'm always on the cutting edge, man. I've got so many machines and out there technologies that people would never even heard of that treat everything. So that's why I'm only selling like 5 or 6 products, just the absolute best ones that I know of that I take. Or you can jump onto my website, www.innate-awareness.com, and there's a bunch of videos on there, links, and you can also order from there, but I wouldn't because it's more expensive. It's just there because it's there. It's easier and better to go to the affiliate link because I don't have to post it, I don't have to get it. You can just go on and order as many as you want. And I would recommend buying all 3, the Stem Enhance, the Plasma Flow, and the Psi Active. If you've got parents with heaps of joint issues, get them the Sciactive Joint and get them the Stem Enhance. That's really good for parents and old people. They feel the results in like 5 or 6 days. They get the calming, inflammation drops down and all that. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the people out there who support, and please share these videos, because I have a lot of trouble getting my information out there because I'm on the blacklist, and it's very hard to grow an audience. So yeah, I post things on Facebook, and I get 400 or 500 likes, hundreds of shares, but then I post any of my videos or any of my like dark content with full truth, and I get like 10 likes, 5 likes, or no one even sees it. I'm like, fuck. So yeah, if you can share these videos and tag your friends and family in them, that helps me a lot. And yeah, by buying these products, you really are supporting me, and I humbly thank you for that. It keeps me going, it pays my phone bills, puts food in my mouth, and keeps me on the streets. And that's what I do. I mentor kids. I help people get into sweat lodges and plant medicine ceremonies. I do sound journeys and meditation classes. I talk to people, I mentor people, I'm organising protests, I'm organising rallies, I'm working with the anti-vax movement. I'm running communities, I'm doing things behind the scenes, I'm doing videos, podcasts, YouTube, I'm networking heaps of people, organising seminars, doing my own seminars. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and I've given up a lot of my aspects of my life to put this information out there. I could easily just go to the gym for 6 weeks, go buy myself a nice car and get a normal job in sales doing something, and and live that life. I could easily do that, take some photos of myself with my shirt off, get a big Instagram following and all that. I used to be a topless waiter and a topless model. Instead, I'm putting my neck on the line, I'm putting the truth out there, and I've given up a lot of aspects of my life to do that. So when you guys support me and the beautiful comments and messages, it means so much. It really does keep me going, because sometimes you think to yourself, fuck, what are you doing? Why am I doing this shit for when I could just be doing the easy life? But when people message me and say, thank you so much, Nate, we're moving out of the city, we're buying land, we've got a water filtration system, we're eating healthy now, and our relationship with our family is getting better. We've been doing these treatments to our child who has an issue, and he's coming good now, thank you so much. They're the things that make me happy, and I'm like, yes, it's working, so yeah. I just wanted to do a little shout out to all the people that listen, and the guys who share and like and all that, and yeah, it really does mean a lot, and I thank you for it. And I will be doing a bunch more health videos. I'm going to be heading into the health realm, because people can't understand some of the information I put out, because their mind is just swimming in a sea of toxic soup. So they can't put the pieces of the puzzle together. The neurons aren't firing. They can't even understand like that, there's stuff being sprayed in the sky. They look up and they literally don't see it. They literally do not see it, because the neurons aren't firing. The connection to source, to God, to the creator, to our soul, it's being severed. So once we get people healthy, then they'll be like, oh, tell us more about this, tell me more about that. So I'm feeling like going back and doing a lot more health now, and having take-home solutions that people can do. And then I will continue doing my other stuff on the side. So I'm not changing what I'm doing, guys. I'm just changing my approach, because I want to catch more people. I want to wake up more people and be more productive at it. So I'm feeling this is the best way. Go back into health a bit more. And then we'll continue doing the other stuff. When I do my seminars, all right, we're going to go there. I'm going to tour around Australia soon, and hopefully around the world. And yeah, we'll talk about everything then. But for now, I need a mainstream presence that's safe, and people aren't going to be scared off, because I'm a little bit intense, I know. So yeah, but all right. Thanks for listening, beautiful people, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.